Good afternoon, well, good evening rather, listeners and viewers. It's 6:40 and it is time for the nation's business. I'm Siobhan Campbell, soon to be joined by our veteran Emmy Award-winning journalist, Cliff Hughes. We are going to be talking about the Sparks program. Works Minister Robert Morgan says work under the government's $2 billion emergency road patching program will be intensified over the coming days. In a statement on Friday, Minister Morgan says the work will begin across all 14 parishes. Similarly, the National Works Agency says activities will be ramped up to fix roads in Clarendon, St. Catherine, and Kingston and St. Andrew. Minister Morgan says key roads slated for patching include those in St. Catherine, South and North, Maypen to Hayes, Freetown to Alley, Molynes Road to Pennants to Frankfield and Danks to Crofts Hill.
It also includes Spalding to Cave Valley, Maypen to Sour Sop Turn, Maypen to Pores, James Hill Road, Spanish Town Road, Mannings Hill Road, Mountain View Avenue, East Kings House Road, Manley Boulevard and Portmore. In the meantime, the state-owned petroleum refinery Petrojam has announced that it is set to be the exclusive supplier of bitumen for both the Reach and Spark Road programs. As part of the arrangement, Petrojam says it will supply more than 4 million litres of its high-quality bitumen. Bitumen is the binding agent used in the production of asphalt. Petrojam notes that it produces and supplies various grades of bitumen to local and overseas markets, including penetration and performance grade. It says both are manufactured to very strict industry standards.
The refinery says its bitumen has been used to pave the other major local roads in the island, including Highway 2000, Transjam Highway, and the Southern Coastal Highway. Petrojam's general manager, Telroy Morgan, says the company is also set to supply bitumen for the upcoming Montego Bay Bypass Road project.
So our supply of performance-grade bitumen is demonstrative of Petrojam's commitment to diversify our product offerings and delivering innovative solutions while supporting critical infrastructure needs. Building a reputation of supply reliability positions us to expand into new markets and promote brand Jamaica.
Telroy Morgan, General Manager of Petrojam. Petrojam says it has also supported runway resurfacing and expansion at Norman Manley and Sangster International Airports. Minister Morgan joins us now. Good evening, Minister.
Hi, Cliff, and is that Siobhan?
Yes, it is.
Good evening, Minister.
Good evening to you both, and good evening to your listeners.
All right. So you say this is the Spark program now, or the Reach program that will be intensified?
So there's two programs running concurrently, Cliff. The Spark would have started at Harbour Heights in East Kingston, and then we have the Reach, that is basically the emergency patching that is going on, as well as the normal Reach, which is the community roads in the various constituencies. We're going to be spending $10 million per constituency between now and March in terms of community roads, and we'll be spending $2 billion on main roads. And you would have listed some of the main roads that have already started, but we have a whole ton load that are going to be started over the next several days all across the island in every parish. But these are main roads. So I want to explain. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to give commuters a smooth ride on the main thoroughfare. So for example, imagine you coming from the airport and you want to reach Ligani. You'll come at the roundabout in Harbourview. You drive down Florizel, Glassford, you turn right at the stoplight, and then you'd go to the stoplight at Mountain View. You come up Mountain View, you reach at the stadium, and you make a decision whether you go towards the Bustamante Children's Hospital side, or you make a decision to go to Hope Road, Lady Musgrave, or so on. Or if you're going on Manley Boulevard, you go straight downtown Ocean Boulevard, or so on. So the main road is our priority for the emergency patching, where people drive: East Kings House Road, Barbican, Grand Stand, Shortwood Road, Maypen to Manchester Avenue, 4 Pass, Bustamante Highway, Lucy to Negril. Those sorts of roads, Grange Hill, Lucy to Negril to Grange Hill. Those are the roads that we're going to be focusing on the emergency patching. And we started in December. We took a little break because most of the plants were closed for Christmas Day, and now we're back on again.
So, and this is under both the Reach and the Spark?
No, man, Spark is the total rehabilitation. So we are going to do about 30 roads in the next 3 to 4 months. We started up by Harbour Heights, and we're prepping to do some more launches over the next couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. So it's two separate things. One is patching and one is total rehabilitation.
Got you.
Reach is total rehabilitation, big, massive budget, $40, $50, $60 million per road. Reach is patching, as you can see, what we're doing on, let's say, East Kings House Road, what we're doing on Grandstand. There's something I want to say, though, and I see persons saying, why are we digging up Barbican and why are we digging up Constant Spring? Now, those roads were fixed under the MIDP, Major Infrastructure Development Program, which was run by China Harbour. Now, a part of MIDP is a thing called defects liability, where the road has essentially a warranty. So if the road starts to degrade before a particular time, then the contractor has an obligation to come in and repair it. Sections of Barbican and sections of Constant Spring started to degrade before time, so the contractor was obligated to come and do a thing called mill and paving. So milling is where they take a machine and they scrape off the upper layer of the asphalt, and then they repave it with fresh asphalt. Kind of like what we did on Grandstone Road, but that wasn't defects liability. That was just the Reach emergency patching.
I see them doing the milling on Constant Spring Road, right in the vicinity of Manor Park, on the way to Long Lane. Yes? Which takes me to the point, Minister. Red Gal Ring, that is posing quite a bit of problem, because just as you mount the hill, yes, past Red Gal Ring and go around that bend, that steep incline, that area broke away some time ago. And they've started to do work there now. And the traffic, they are now having to divert the traffic through the by roads, Hermitage Dam Road, Gibson, to get back onto Old Stone, Long Lane. But those roads can't take the traffic. And we have had several near misses. Yeah? I think you need a little bit more in terms of direction. Yeah? For the motorists who don't know the area, and for those who need to take it easy to negotiate the much narrower roads. If you
I
understand
agree
what
with
I'm saying.
That's something that we need to consider, but there's a little background to that collapse in Red Gal Ring. It's actually a culvert that has collapsed almost totally. So we're doing some patching along Long Lane, is it, right?
Long Lane,
right.
Yes.
And the contractor patched it, and we noticed it started to sink. And when we did our investigation, we realized that the entire culvert had collapsed. We had engaged a contractor to deal with it. That didn't work out. So we had to find another contractor who started work about a little bit before Christmas. So now what we're doing, because of the extensive damage and the risk to motorists in trying to navigate, because it's right on the corner.
Yes, it's dangerous.
So many persons would not know that there are workmen taking place, workmen there working. So what I'll do is I'll speak to NWA to see what we can do to assist motorists with the alternative routes, because we're really trying to do it quickly, but as you can imagine, culvert works do take some time to cure and so on.
And you know what has happened? I'm sure you didn't intend this. The road that they now have to use to divert the traffic from going up Long Lane, because of the increased use, part of that road is beginning to cave in.
You're talking Hermitage?
Hermitage Dam Road.
But is the cave in because of the use or because some contractor destroyed the road with their
No. That we are quite aware of. No, we're talking about a part of the road that was doing quite fine. Yeah, all of a sudden the increased traffic on it over the last several days, we now notice a part of it is beginning to cave.
So we'll definitely get the NWA to go and look at that. Because if we are using it as an alternate route, then we have to ensure that it is in good condition.
Yes.
Or it is left in good condition. So you
Mhm.
don't have to, the residents can be assured that whatever damage they perceive or see, we will make the necessary adjustments to give them back their road.
Okay.
Minister, I have two quick questions, one general, one more specific. In terms of the longevity of these patched roads, what is the expectation in terms of the need to then revisit them at a later date?
So we have to be realistic. If I have a road that is at end of life and develops a pothole, all right, let me give you an example. There's a reason why we had to mill and pave almost the entire grandstand. Because if we patch a section, we can almost guarantee that within 2 weeks another section will disintegrate. And that's the challenge with patching, right? Patching is not a long-term solution. Patching is a short-term solution. So we are basically looking at roads and see whether we can extend their life. Some of them are at end of life, some are not yet at end of life. So for example, East Kings House Road is not yet at end of life. So we can use patching to fix some of the potholes there. Roads like Spanish Town Road are at end of life. So you'll see a lot of milling and paving taking place on Spanish Town Road. So a lot of what we're doing on Spanish Town Road is not patching, because patching would not solve the problem. So a lot of persons, for example, Waltham Park Road, the intersection of Waltham Park and Aggie Park, we patched it last year. It started digging up again. We patched it to give motorists a temporary relief, but there's a major drain there that does not have the capacity to carry the water that is on the road constantly, right? So it has started to disintegrate again. But we would not have been able to fix that drain in a month. We would not have been able to procure the drain in a month. It takes a while. What do you do while the motorists are suffering? Do you say to yourself, let us spend $2 million and patch it? Or do you say, leave it alone, let the motorists suffer? These are difficult decisions that you have to make from a policy perspective. Mm-hmm. My decision is always going to be that the citizens should not suffer because of bad infrastructure. And if the money is there to try to even alleviate it for a couple months, we will try to alleviate it for a couple months. Yes, some persons are going to criticize and say, well, you just fixed the road last year and it is destroyed already. Yeah, but somebody's front end would have lasted a little bit longer. Somebody may have less tire bill to pay because we did do some work there. And remember, places like Aggie Park Road and Waltham carry thousands of vehicles per day. Mm-hmm. And if we can give some respite to the motoring public for even 2 months until we are able to put in a permanent solution, we will.
Mm-hmm. And the more specific one, Minister, because I believe I spoke to you about this one over the Christmas period, that bypass into Chapelton proper, where that road essentially has dropped off. Have they addressed that yet? While I appreciate that the bypass exists, a lot of people don't even realize that there's a bypass and they try to get over what almost at this point seems to be a sheer cliff.
Well, we have put up signs there now, detour, but every time we block the road, some enterprising motorists remove the blockage. The fact is that drop is not going to be fixed now because there are clear geological problems. I mean, the older persons in the area would tell you that this is the third time in their lifetime that this is happening. There were rains for many months. And then
it sounds like there's a fault line there.
Right.
If you saw it, definitely there's a fault line there.
Yeah, and it started to slide, and we have probably poured about 20 loads of sand into that area in an effort to keep the road. Mm-hmm. And we realized that wouldn't work, so we had to pave an alternative route on Hyman Street. That is going to take some time to fix, but there are alternate routes. A part of the challenge, however, is that a lot of the heavy-duty trucks that traverse from Maypen to St. Anne and St. James through the constituency, some of them may have challenges with the alternate routes, but the reality is the reality, and that is the challenge in infrastructure. we have to create the alternate routes, but it won't be satisfactory or easy for everyone.
Minister, let me ask you this. The road repairs now to intensify. What is your target? What is your overarching target, given a certain event looming?
So the road repair is not based on the event. The road repair is based on the need and the citizens' request. So there are at least 250, 300 main thoroughfares that require major improvement. What we have done is we have looked at the entire list. For example, there are 24 main roads, main thoroughfares in Manchester that require some work. We have picked out about 10 that are most critical that we'll be addressing. There are about 48, no, sorry, not 48, there are about the same amount in St. Elizabeth. We've picked out about 15 of them in St. Elizabeth that need, and we'll go across the country and we look for the road that the most people drive on. And let's look at Clarendon, Cliff, Maypen to Hayes, Freetown to Alley, Pennants to Frankfield, Spalding to Cave Valley, Maypen to Porus, James Hill Road, and those roads. Fogar Road to Milk River, which has Clarendon College and has Milk River Bath and have a lot of people from Yorktown and so on. Those are important. So the target is to create drivable thoroughfares for the majority of Jamaicans to get some respite. So we're already in the communities with Reach and Spark. Spark been patching in communities, each MP, over the last probably 4 months now has access to between $30 and $35 million to the road repairs in their constituencies. And then the NWA has another $1 billion normally to go in and do road repairs wherever. And then because of the great rains that we had, the Prime Minister, looking at the situation and looking at the devastation, since burial, ordered or gave the policy direction to the head of the NWA that this could be an emergency situation, and the head of the NWA would have looked at it and would have said, this is an emergency situation. Mm-hmm. And so that's the plan. I want to say this, Cliff, while persons may speculate about elections and so on, the question we must ask ourselves is, should we not fix the roads until after the election? People don't stop paying taxes because an election is coming. People don't stop going to work. People don't stop having to go about their business. And governments have a responsibility to provide the necessary respite and help to their citizens, regardless of the season. I don't know when the Prime Minister is going to call an election. He could call it next month. He could call it in 6 months. He could call it in September. I cannot depend on that to determine whether I'm going to do my job as a minister without portfolio, to give the policy directive or to carry out the policy directive that the Prime Minister has given to cause the NWA to repair the roads.
Minister, Mark Golding recently gave quite an interesting assessment of the Spark and Reach program, suggesting the government is undertaking them now and undertaking these big projects as an attempt to get a kickback under the table, so to speak. In terms of accountability for those programs, I know the Auditor General is set to do her own reporting and checks. Has that begun, or is that going to be done at the end of the program?
I have 3 responses for that. The Spark program wasn't announced. No, it was announced actually 2 budgets ago by Nigel Clark. First spoke about it in 23-24 budget, and Prime Minister kicked it off in March 24-25, and we started the procurement in May. I wish that Spark had started last year. We in terms of early last year, we tried our very best. It was an international tender. It was very transparent. The elections didn't have anything to do with it. The leader of the opposition in his criticism is really not criticizing me or the Prime Minister, because the Prime Minister and I only announce policy. We do not pay anybody. We are not engineers. There's an entire procurement unit at the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, and there's one also at the National Works Agency. There's a group of people called the Public Procurement Commission, which has persons from the private sector and the public sector. There are engineers and contractors who are members of the Master Builder Association, who participate in these programs, who bid for their contracts publicly through the papers, and who win their contracts and do their work, and the work is validated and they are paid. When the leader of the opposition says that these projects are created so we and our cronies can scrape, who are the cronies? Is he saying that the public sector workers are the cronies? Is it the Public Procurement Commission that are the cronies? Is it the engineers are the cronies? Is it the grade 1, grade 2 contractors? Some of them have been non-aligned to any political party. Some have been aligned to political parties. Some are agnostic to politics. Are they the cronies? And that's the problem with a scorched earth approach to politics, where because you're so desperate for power, you will even throw out the baby with the bath water. You don't care about anyone's integrity. You don't care about anyone's reputation. You just want to win. So whatever you can say or do to cause you to be in power, as Mr. Pickersgill said, you will do it. The second thing is,
we are almost out of time. Could you wrap it up?
I'm sorry, Kip. My apologies.
Yes, we are out of time. We have another feature. We'll bring you back, Minister. Thank you very much.
I really appreciate the time. Thank you to your listeners, and thank you both.
Good.